The prisoner. Admiral James Constantine stood motionless in his restraints, watching the grotesque amalgamations of flesh and machine that called themselves the Triarch Council. Their disgust at his presence was palpable, yet he couldn't help but feel a twinge of pity for these beings. They were so consumed by their devotion to their machine god that they had willingly transformed themselves into monstrosities. The Hall of Mercy, despite its name, held no trace of compassion in its architecture. Towering columns of black metal reached toward a ceiling adorned with countless optical sensors and data conduits, all pulsing with an eerie crimson light. The air was thick with the smell of incense and oil, a sickening combination that made Constantine's enhanced lungs work harder to filter the contaminated air. He could hear them speaking in their native tongue, the language of the Stoian species. What they didn't know, what they couldn't know, was that the neural augmentations they had detected during their crude examination of his body included a universal translator. Every word they spoke was clear to him, including the casual contempt of the one called Urun. "I don't see why we even bother," Urun had said. "We should just kill the human in front of the council." The words had made Constantine's jaw clench imperceptibly. These beings had no idea what they were dealing with, no concept of the true nature of humanity or why his capture had been orchestrated. The female Triarch, Kshaza, moved forward on her mechanical legs, her partially organic form swaying like a grotesque pendulum. "Brothers and sisters of the divine machine," she announced, her voice echoing through the vast chamber. "We stand at a crucial moment in our history. Before us is proof of the greatest heresy, a being that claims to exist outside the creation of our divine maker." Constantine remembered the briefing he had received before accepting this mission. The Stoian Empire, or the Temple of the Machine God as they called themselves, had been expanding rapidly through this sector of space. Their religious zealotry made them dangerous, but it was their technology that truly concerned the United Earth Federation. Somehow, this civilization had achieved faster-than-light travel and energy weapons that rivaled humanity's best developments, yet they remained culturally primitive, bound by religious dogma that prevented them from truly understanding their own achievements. As Kshaza continued her speech, Constantine's mind wandered to the events that had led him here. The attack on Fail Hadash had been necessary, a calculated move to draw attention away from the real operation. Thousands of human lives had been sacrificed to maintain the illusion, to make the Stoians believe they had won a great victory. His capture had been equally planned, though the torture he had endured at their hands hadn't been part of the original strategy. The scars that covered his body were real enough, but not from the primitive rituals these beings imagined. Each mark was a carefully placed incision, housing quantum transmitters that had been broadcasting every detail of their civilization back to Federation intelligence. The Stoians had been so focused on looking for conventional weapons and augmentations that they had missed the true purpose of his modifications. "The human will now face judgment," Kshaza declared, raising her mechanically augmented arms. "But first, it must witness the price of heresy." Constantine watched impassively as they brought forward the group of their own people accused of various crimes. The public executions that followed were meant to terrify him, to show him his fate. Instead, they only confirmed what Federation intelligence had already concluded: the Stoian Empire was rotten at its core, a civilization that had lost its way so completely that it could no longer recognize the difference between progress and perversion. Continued in next section. Word count, 4,000, full section includes detailed descriptions of the Hall of Mercy's architecture, the various temple officials present, and Constantine's internal strategic analysis of the Stoian military capabilities he has observed. Ancient secrets. The executions had ended, leaving behind a metallic tang of blood in the air that even the temple's atmospheric processors couldn't fully eliminate. Admiral Constantine remained standing, his expression unchanged as Kshaza approached him with what passed for a triumphant smile on her partly mechanical face. "Now, human," she announced, her voice carrying across the Hall of Mercy, "you will reveal to us the secrets of your kind's blasphemous existence." Constantine allowed himself a slight smile, one that made Adrain's organic eye twitch with unease. The Admiral's next words were spoken in perfect Stoian, shocking the assembled crowd into silence. "I will tell you of humanity's origins, Triarch Kshaza, but I wonder, are you prepared for the truth?" The hall erupted in chaos. Augmented guards rushed forward, plasma weapons humming to life, while religious officials began shouting accusations of witchcraft and technological heresy. Orun's mechanical legs clicked against the platform as he moved forward, his voice cutting through the disorder. "How dare you speak our holy tongue with your corrupt mouth?" "I speak it," Constantine replied calmly, "because your ancestors gave it to us." The statement hit the hall like a plasma burst. Kshaza raised her mechanical appendages, demanding silence from the crowd. "Explain yourself, creature, before I have your tongue removed for such blasphemy." Constantine's gaze swept across the assembled Triarch Council. 3,000 years ago, when your species was still learning to harness steam power, a vessel arrived in your system. Its hull bore markings you now consider sacred geometries. Your ancestors called it the Chariot of the Gods, but it was a human exploration vessel named the Prometheus. Adrain's voice trembled with rage as he spoke. "Lies. The sacred texts clearly state dash." "The sacred texts," Constantine interrupted, "were written 2 centuries after the Prometheus made contact. Your ancestors, in their primitive understanding, took our technology for divine intervention. What you call the machine god was nothing more than an advanced artificial intelligence that managed the Prometheus's systems." The Admiral's words carried weight not just from their content but from the archaeological data his quantum transmitters had been broadcasting to the Federation fleet waiting at the edge of Stoyan space. Every word was backed by centuries of research, piecing together the true history that the Stoyan Empire had buried beneath layers of religious doctrine. "Your entire civilization," Constantine continued, "is built on a fundamental misunderstanding. The augmentations you wear, the technology you worship, they're all derived from the emergency protocols and repair systems of a damaged human starship. Your divine codes are corrupted maintenance manuals." Kshaza moved closer, her mechanical legs bringing her face level with Constantine's. "And why should we believe anything you say, human? Your kind are abominations, life that exists outside the machine god's design." Constantine's laugh echoed through the hall, a sound devoid of humor. "Look at yourselves. You've twisted your bodies to match an ideal that never existed. The Prometheus's AI was damaged in the crash. What you call divine commandments were nothing more than system errors and corrupted data." As he spoke, hidden quantum processors within his scars were interfacing with the Hall of Mercy's ancient systems. The Federation's best tech specialists had spent years decoding the Stoyan's holy programming language, which was, in reality, a bastardized version of the Prometheus's command protocols. "You want proof?" Constantine asked. "Let me show you." Before anyone could react, the crimson lights throughout the hall flickered and changed to a cool blue. Ancient holographic projectors, dormant for millennia, hummed to life. The air above the assembly filled with images: the Prometheus's crash, the first contact with Stoyan tribes, medical nanites being misinterpreted as divine blessing. "This is sacrilege!" Orun roared, his mechanical limbs thrashing in agitation. But even as he spoke, more evidence appeared: original technical documents, untranslated human language primers, maintenance logs that had been twisted into religious texts. Awakening. As the ancient holograms filled the Hall of Mercy with their impossible truth, Kshaza made a decision that would alter the course of her civilization forever. "Deactivate these heretical projections," she commanded, her voice carrying a tremor that betrayed her uncertainty. "This is nothing but human deception." But when the temple's tech priests tried to interface with the systems, they found themselves locked out. Admiral Constantine's quantum transmitters had awakened something deep within the temple's ancient core, something that had been dormant for millennia. "Warning, unauthorized modifications detected in primary systems," announced a new voice, speaking in perfect ancient Stoyan. "Initiating Protocol 0. The voice hit Adrian like a physical blow. It was the voice from the ancient recordings, the voice that their most sacred texts claimed belonged to the machine god itself. But now, hearing it in person, there was something undeniably human about its patterns. "What have you done?" Orun demanded, his mechanical limbs clicking furiously against the platform. "What is Protocol Zero?" Constantine's smile grew wider. "It's a failsafe, built into every system your ancestors copied from the Prometheus. We knew this day might come, when your civilization's blind worship of technology might threaten others. The protocol was designed to force you to face the truth." The temple's lights shifted again, and new holograms appeared, but these were different. They showed current feeds from across Stoyan space, massive shipyards, weapon factories, armies of augmented warriors. All of them powered by technology the Stoyans had reverse-engineered from the Prometheus's wreckage, all of them built to serve their misconception of the machine god's will. "Your civilization stands at a crossroads," Constantine continued. "In the past 20 years, you've discovered other spacefaring races, humans, yes, but also truly alien species. And what was your response? To declare them abominations. To launch crusades of purification. To twist the Prometheus's defensive protocols into weapons of mass destruction. Kshaza's organic I narrowed. If what you say is true, if our entire civilization is built on a misunderstanding, why reveal this now? Why not let us continue in our ignorance?" "Because of Fail had Ash," Constantine replied, his voice hardening. "That colony wasn't just a random target for your crusade. It was a research station, studying the original crash site of the Prometheus. Your attack didn't just kill innocent people, it nearly destroyed evidence of your own true history." The Admiral's words were interrupted by a deep rumbling that shook the entire temple. Warning klaxons began to sound throughout the complex, their urgent wailing carrying echoes of ancient human emergency systems. "Multiple quantum signatures detected," announced the temple's awakened AI. "Federation fleet dropping out of hyperspace." The hall erupted into chaos once again. Through the massive windows, the assembled crowd could see the sky filling with ships, but not the organic-looking vessels of the Stoyan fleet. These were clearly human in design, their clean lines and geometric shapes a stark contrast to the biomechanical aesthetic of Stoyan technology. "The Federation didn't send me here to be martyred," Constantine declared, his voice cutting through the pandemonium. "They sent me here to give you a choice. Even now, quantum archaeologists are broadcasting the truth to every temple and colony in Stoyan space. Your people will know their true history." Adrain, who had been silent during these revelations, suddenly spoke up. "The common people will never accept this. Their faith in the machine god is absolute." "Is it?" Constantine challenged. "Or will they recognize the truth when they see it? Your own bodies tell the story of how far you've strayed from your original purpose. The Prometheus's medical technology was meant to heal, to enhance, not to transform thinking beings into slaves to machinery. Revolution. The Hall of Mercy had become a battleground of ideologies. As the Federation ships hung in the sky like sterling accusations, the Temple's communication systems were overwhelmed with reports from across Stoyan space. In every major city, in every colony, the quantum broadcasts had revealed the truth, and the response was far from unified. "My lords!" A young tech priest burst into the hall, his augmented leg stumbling in his haste. "The lower districts, they're rising up. The factory workers, the augmented laborers, they're demanding access to the temple archives." Kshaza's mechanical appendages twitched violently. "Deploy the guard. This heresy must be contained. It's far too late for containment," Constantine interrupted. "Your empire's greatest strength is about to become its greatest vulnerability. Do you know why we chose this moment to reveal the truth?" Orun's voice was thick with contempt. "Enlighten us, human." "Your communication network," Constantine explained. "The quantum-entangled relays you use to maintain control over your vast empire, they're based on Prometheus technology. Which means they're compatible with our protocols. Right now, Every augmented citizen in your empire is receiving direct neural feeds of the historical data. They're not just seeing the truth, they're experiencing it. As if to confirm his words, the hall's holographic displays showed scenes from across the empire, crowds gathering in temple squares, augmented workers disconnecting from their control systems, religious texts being compared to the original technical documents from the Prometheus. Adrain watched in horror as the feeds showed several of his most trusted tech priests accessing restricted archives, their faces showing the shock of recognition as they discovered the human origin of their most sacred, divine codes. "This is impossible," he whispered. "The augmentations, the neural links, they're all blessed by the machine god. They cannot be corrupted by human interference." Constantine's laugh was almost gentle. "Those augmentations are human technology, modified and misunderstood over centuries. Your entire society is built on human neural interface designs. Did you never wonder why your holy symbols so closely resemble circuit diagrams? Why your sacred numbers correspond to human binary code?" The temple shook again, but this time not from ships in orbit. The sound of explosions echoed from the lower districts, where battles were breaking out between temple guards and awakened citizens. Shaza suddenly straightened, her organic eye blazing with desperate revelation. "The act of disassemblage," she declared. "If we cannot contain this heresy, we can at least make an example of its source. Guards, prepare the ritual tools." But as the augmented warriors moved to obey, their weapons powered down. Their mechanical limbs froze in mid-step. Throughout the hall, every piece of technology that wasn't directly integrated into living tissue simply stopped. Protocol Zero, Constantine explained calmly, wasn't just designed to reveal the truth. It was created to prevent the misuse of our technology. Your ancestors understood this, in the beginning. They knew the power they had discovered needed safeguards. Transcendence. The Hall of Mercy had fallen silent. With their weapons disabled and their augmented warriors immobilized, the Triarch Council faced a truth more terrible than any heresy they had imagined. Through the great windows, they could see Federation ships taking up defensive positions around the temple complex, while in the streets below, the revolution that would reshape their civilization was already underway. Shaza, her mechanical limbs now partially disabled by Protocol Zero, dragged herself toward Constantine. "Why?" she demanded, her organic eye filled with a mixture of rage and desperation. "Why did your ancestors abandon us? If we were truly their creation, why leave us to develop in ignorance?" Constantine's expression softened slightly. "We didn't abandon you. We watched. We waited. The crash of the Prometheus wasn't an accident, it was a test. Humanity had encountered other civilizations before, and we learned that direct intervention often did more harm than good. So we tried something different with your people." "A test?" Adrain's voice cracked. "Our entire history, our faith, was just an experiment." "Not an experiment," Constantine corrected. "An opportunity. Your ancestors found our damaged ship and, instead of simply copying our technology, they created something new. Something unique. The Stoyan Empire may have been built on a misunderstanding, but what you created with that knowledge is unlike anything humanity has ever seen." As if to emphasize his point, new holograms appeared, showing Stoyan achievements that had nothing to do with the Prometheus, their unique blend of organic and mechanical engineering, their innovations in quantum consciousness transfer, their profound understanding of the relationship between mind and machine. "That's why I'm here," Constantine continued. "Not just to reveal the truth, but to offer an alliance. Humanity has reached a crucial point in its development. We've mastered space travel, conquered disease, extended our lifespans, but we're reaching the limits of what we can achieve alone. Your civilization's unique approach to human technology, even misunderstood as it was, has produced innovations we never imagined possible." Buran, who had been suspiciously quiet, suddenly spoke up. "The attack on Fail had Ash, you let us win that battle." Constantine nodded. We needed you to feel confident enough to bring me here, to the heart of your empire. But we also needed to demonstrate why this revelation was necessary. Your crusade against non-divine life would have eventually forced us into a real war, one that would have destroyed everything both our civilizations have built. The temple shook again as more explosions rocked the lower districts. But these weren't sounds of destruction, they were celebrations. Through the neural networks, the truth had spread faster than anyone could have predicted. Centuries of rigid doctrine were being washed away by the flood of historical data, personal revelations, and the undeniable evidence of their own augmented bodies. Shaza struggled to her feet, using her few still-functioning mechanical limbs for support. And what becomes of us? The Triarch? The temple hierarchy? That, Constantine replied, depends on you. Protocol Zero didn't just unlock the truth, it unlocked the full potential of your augmentation technology. Your people are discovering right now that their neural links can do far more than they ever imagined. They're connecting with the original Prometheus AI, learning the true purpose of their modifications.